supposed to come in, I'll let them in. But so we will start, and we'll start on chapter 7, consumer choice and utility maximization. I'll ask everybody, how was the test? Do you have any feedback? Like, do you have anything that you want me to change for the next test? Good. Thanks, Zara. Yeah, any feedback you have, just let me know, and then I'll try to improve the next test. Yeah, as we go on in class, just feel free to comment in the chat or unmute yourself if you have any feedback or any points you want to make. So, diminishing marginal utility is that the added satisfaction declines as the consumer acquires additional units of given product. So, in that case, like if, like for example, you buy one ice cream cone, it will have a huge increase in marginal utility. However, the second ice cream cone you buy, you will have a much lower increase in marginal utility because you don't value the second as much. Utility is value. So that's basically the description here. Okay. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Thanks. So that's kind of the introduction to diminishing marginal utility. As you get more of something, you're going to value it less. So I'm going to show you this graph here. That's a good explanation of that. So yeah, as you get more utility on the total utility graph, marginal utility keeps going down. So you get more utility. So you get more utility value for each meal, but each meal has a lower increase in utility. So you may get an increase of 10 utility for the first meal, and then 8 utility increase for the second meal, then 6 utility increase for third meal. So you're gaining less, like you're not gaining as much for each. So yeah, since successive units of a good yield smaller and smaller amounts of marginal utility, the consumer will buy additional units of product only if the price falls. So we assume a typical consumer exhibits rational behavior, has clear-cut preferences, is subject to budget constraint and response to price changes. So we want to do utility maximization. So this will allow for marginal utility product A divided by price A equals marginal utility product B divided by price of B. That's efficient. So we want to have where marginal utility and divided by dollars is highest. So marginal utility per dollar spent equals value for money spent. You want this to be highest when you are creating a product. So like Tesla, iPhone had this in mind when they were created. So Tesla was created to have the highest marginal utility per dollar spent on the vehicle compared to the competition. So Tesla has the highest value per dollar spent compared to competition. And also iPhone has highest value per dollar spent compared to competition. So if you want to create a new product, like if you want to invent a new product, if you want to invent a new product, invent a product with the highest marginal utility per dollar spent in the market. So that's what you want to do when you invent a product. Just create the best product possible. So substitution effect is the impact that a change in a product's price has on its relative expensiveness and consequently on the quantity demanded. When the price of oranges falls, there's a substitution of now cheaper oranges. Income effect is the impact that a change in the price of product has on a consumer's real income and consequently on the quantity demanded that good. Increase in real income increases both consumption of apples and oranges. So yeah, in this case, iPads had the highest MU/P for alternative products when it was introduced. So in 2010, iPads had the highest MU/P, marginal unit utility per dollar spent, which is also value per dollar spent compared to the competition. So it had the highest product quality per dollar spent possible, which made people buy it. So I have a question for you. Why would water essential to life be priced below diamonds, which have much less usefulness? Yeah, that's good, Christopher. Excellent. That's true. Yeah, Christopher's got it. So yeah, diamonds are rare/scarce. Therefore, that's what makes its value. And then water is plentiful, at least in Canada, which makes it available and not scarce, which makes it cheap. Yeah, that's good. Good job, Christopher. That's great. So then the theory of consumer choice can be generalized to account for the economic value of time. By accounting for the opportunity cost of consumers' time, it can explain certain phenomena that are otherwise quite puzzling. So executives pay more to travel than the average person. So executives pay more to travel because executives, they make more money traveling than average people. Therefore, executives will pay more for a ticket because they will make more. Yeah. And then people generally prefer gifts, cash gifts to non-cash gifts because they know what their preferences are. So criminals commit crimes because they believe that they'll make more benefit than cost. So that's the reason why they commit crimes. So criminals commit crimes because they believe their benefits will be greater than costs. Therefore, society has to make the costs of crime greater than benefits through. Can anyone think of any ideas to make the cost of crime greater than benefits? So you can do this through jail time. Okay. Punishments, yeah, that's great, Christopher. That's excellent. So yeah, punishments, great. Severe punishments, that's great. Severe punishments, I would fines too. Fines, be an entrepreneur. So we're gonna go through this right now. So I'm just gonna go to, so this is the budget line. So this budget line, so anything, here, anything on the line or left of the line, we can afford. Anything right of the line, we cannot afford. So yeah, so we can afford anything at the line there. So we can buy anything at the line or below. But if the line shifts out like that, our income increases. So we can purchase more of each good. And if the line shifts left, our income decreases. So we can afford less of each. And in this case, if the graph rotates downward, the price of B is doubled. And then if it rotates like that, price of A is doubled. So right here, this is the most efficient part. So we want to be right here. So we want to be in the middle where the budget line meets the curve, the indifference curve. So this place is where we have equality and efficiency. So we want that. So that'll mean that like everyone has equal incomes basically, and a high standard of life. So I would say place like Denmark is there. Like Denmark would be here. So like I think Denmark, like they're not exactly there, but they would be close to here, because they are equal and efficient. But so Y and Z here, Y and Z are efficient, but they're not equal. So these are efficient but not equal. Efficient but not equal. Yeah. So so like any point on the budget line is efficient, but we need to get to the middle of the budget line to be equal. So that's very important. So in this case, since the price of B goes up, we can afford less. So the change in price is composed of two effects. The income effect is the impact that a change in the price is on a consumer's real income, and the consequent effect on quantity demand. Substitution effect is the impact that a change in a product's price has on its relative expensiveness and consequently on the quantity demand. So in this case, the income effect, is the movement from Y to Z, and then the substitution effect is the movement from X to Y. Don't worry too much about the movements on the curve, because we're more in this class, we're going to more talk about the like what they are rather than the curve focus. So we went through that. Our next activity, I'm going to bring it up here. So our next activity, I'm just going to bring this up. So this is good for the bonus project. I'll put this in the chat. Just going to share this. So feel free to join in on this document, and you can edit it. I'll put it in the chat. Feel free to come on here and then put on what you think is good. So what we did with the product for the other class was we picked pastries. Then our target audience was 18 to 25-year-olds. And then we went through our tactics of marketing. We used Instagram videos and posts, podcasts and pastries, blog and pastries, TikTok shorts and pastries, and YouTube shorts and pastries. And helpful links, we used Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blogger, Spotify. Then we talked about how Instagram and TikTok and YouTube would provide excitement and entertainment to your customers, thereby making them interested to purchase your products. And then Spotify, YouTube, and a blog to educate your consumers on the benefits of the product. You build a good reputation through your podcast, blog, and social media because people would want to buy into a set of values, not just the product. So showing good values and good reputation would show that you're a good business to buy from. So that's very important for your own business. Reputation and values are everything. Like, you need to have a good reputation and good values because people are they're buying into your values and your reputation. The product has to be good, but you need to have a good reputation and values as well. So make sure that, because word of mouth is the most important thing in marketing and selling. Therefore, you need to have a good reputation, values, and products to have good word of mouth. So that's very important. So then social media marketing tax 2. So how about we think of what type of product you want to sell? What type of products would be best that you want to sell? So I'll put the AliExpress financial advisory. Okay, that's good. I'll put the AliExpress link in the chat as well, just for people to browse. So as we go, let me know which products you would be interested in selling through AliExpress, from AliExpress. Look at price and your interest in the product. So financial advisory, Nicole, that's great. So financial advisory, that's a good product because there's a high demand for it. So insurance, mutual funds, and financial advice. So how do you think you would promote financial advisory?
Okay, I'm gonna speak. I don't know if you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a good way to promote that is through, I've seen many people already doing something like that on Instagram as well. I mean, in a way that people actually get to relate to that in a very easy way. I mean, not with so much difficult words. I mean, make it relatable, make it on a daily basis. How can I actually help people? How can people find it useful what I'm talking, what I'm teaching them? So I think
that's great. Yeah, great, Nicole. That's excellent. Making it relatable, show how people find it useful. That's great. It's Instagram is a great way to do that, and also to connect with a large amount of people at one time. So that's great, Nicole. So it would probably meet herd mentality and fear of missing out, because there's a lot of people. So a lot of people might join in to the service, and others will fear of missing out, and they want to join too. So that's a good thing too. Can anyone think of anything else with loss aversion? Sunk cost is like is focused on like fixed costs, like costs up front. Then like endowment effect, confirmation of bias, overconfidence, or hedonic adaptation. Does anyone would that meet any of these other factors? So if you think of if anyone thinks of any of these, if Instagram will meet any of these tactics, let me know. But I think D, explain how this marketing tactic and bias will influence your target markets by your product. How will Instagram influence your target market to buy the product? So endowment effect is so endowment effect. So it's an emotional bias that causes individuals to value an own object higher than its market value. So you could make it seem like it's more valuable than it is. Yeah. So like they can do that through symbolism and also emotion. So that can be done through emotion and symbolism. Yeah. So something that I'll show you a good video on that. So if has anyone watched the show Mad Men? Okay, so it's all about marketing. I'll show you the video on that. It's about how you can market a product through symbolism. Just gonna bring it up for everybody. To childhood. So that's what John Hamm was talking about in the show. So that's a good technique. So nostalgia could be a way to promote your product. Can anyone explain how Instagram will influence your target audience to buy your product? So no problem. So uh, how can Instagram influence your target audience to buy the product?
I'm not exactly sure, but like if you're using Instagram like a social media platform, you could get a free advertisement because you're promoting what you're trying to sell, or what people can buy from you. And like if you include things like tags for specific things, like if you're selling and like clothes, for example, if you especially add like keywords that people can search on Instagram, they could possibly stumble upon what they're looking for. So you can narrow down your target audience more. So they're more likely to purchase your product instead of just doing open marketing and hoping that someone will finally show interest in your products when there's already so many other competitors out there, at least in my opinion.
That's great. We'll see. Yeah, tags, keywords, SEO. That's great. Great job, Bossy. And Justin, if they like the service, they'll keep coming back. That's great. Yeah. So like that's very important. So high product quality, people will keep coming back. Yeah. So like it's important. It's critical to have people coming back. Key customers are key to success. So that's great, Waseed and Justin. That's excellent. Yeah, great job, both of you. And yeah, awesome work. So we'll start our next PowerPoint here. So we'll go through behavioral economics. So neoclassical economics went through how our decisions are rational, but we make a lot of systematic errors. In behavioral economics, it was developed to explain these errors. So neoclassical economics focuses on people have stable preferences that aren't affected by context. People are eager and accurate calculating machines. People are good planners that possess plenty of willpower, and people are almost entirely selfish and self-interested. This is not always true. Like this is not true for a lot of people. Like people are not always selfish. Like there are a lot of people that are selfless. So there are a lot of people that are selfless. People are not accurate calculating machines. Like a lot of people, like I make a lot of mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And then our preferences change. Yeah, so this is not always true. That's why they developed behavioral economics to explain when neoclassical economics isn't always true. So it goes through the mental processes that drive behavior. So they use this. So you could honestly start a business where you use behavioral economics for marketing. So one of my former professors did this. You can too. This could be your bonus assignment if you want to. Like you could literally apply these to selling. And yeah, so one of the things you could do to make people want to buy more is if you give two options instead of a million, instead of many options. So like the less options, the more decisive people are. So you could use that in a marketing context. So like instead of having a million combos, you give people 5 or 10 combos. So like McDonald's does this. Reducing choice is better for customers. So you can use this as a behavioral market economics tactic. And then also, it's good to use them together, behavioral economics and neoclassical economics together. So incentives matter at the supermarket. So like coupons and 10%, 20%, like 10%, 20%, 30% off. So that's an incentive to purchase a product. And then behavioral economics at supermarket impulse buying. Like if you can use tactics to encourage impulse buying, you could increase sales. So like, can you think of any tactics that would make people more likely to purchase on impulse?
I mean, for one, I would imagine like a really big like a discount, even if people didn't actually know the original price. For example, if you said something was 80% off, I would, and then another person would think it's a steal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's great, Wesley. So like, yeah, 80% off. People are more likely to purchase because they feel they are getting a big deal. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Sherry, that's great. 2-for-1 deals, excellent. That's great. Yeah, 2-for-1. That's a good idea there. So if they're getting 2-for-1, they're going to be more likely to buy. That's great. So this is a great chart here. So this chart, it's on this PowerPoint here. So rationality. People are fundamentally rational and will adjust their choices and behaviors to best achieve their goals. Consequently, they will not make systematic errors. And that's under neoclassical economics. And then behavioral economics view is people are rational and make many errors that reduce their chance of achieving their goals. Some errors are regularly repeated systematic errors. So both are true in different cases. So it's very important. So use these theories on a case-by-case basis. So certain cases, neoclassical applies. Other cases, behavioral applies. So like they're not always true. It just depends on the case. So just make sure that you use it on a case-by-case basis. So you could literally make a business on all this information here. So this is under the PowerPoints folder in learning content. And it's so it's under 7B. Yeah. So let me know if you have trouble accessing that. But you could literally create a business on this in terms of marketing. And then stability preferences. People's preferences are completely stable and unaffected by context is neoclassical economics. And then behavioral economics, people's preferences are unstable and often inconsistent because they depend on context for complex. And then so neoclassical economics, people are eager and accurate calculators. Behavioral economics, people are bad at math and avoid difficult computations at cost. So can you give an example of how many different cases affects the theory you use? That's a good question. So I think so neoclassical, you would apply it to people to situations where people are almost completely selfish, right? So where they don't want to help others at all. So you'd apply that to situations where people are self-centered, self-interested, where people are self-interested and self-centered. So those types of situations. Also, like neoclassical would apply to situations where people are narcissistic, basically. Yeah. And then also neoclassical would apply to people in situations where there is almost 100% accuracy. And calculations and people are highly calculated. So that would apply to those types of situations. So like you may have to apply this to like people, apply neoclassical to situations with people that have very high IQ / type A personalities / like they're not all under the same umbrella. Like the people or type A personalities or are selfish. So like people with very high IQs, they could be selfless. Like a lot of people with very high IQs are selfless and help others, right? And then people with type A personalities help others a lot. But like you could apply you can apply neoclassical to both and behavioral at the same time. Those are potential situations where you could apply neoclassical. And then behavioral economics, people give insufficient weight to future events and outcomes. People lack sufficient willpower and often prey to temptation. People are often selfless and generous under behavioral. People care deeply about fairness and will often give to others when doing so will yield no personal benefits. So use behavioral for people that are selfless, not like type B personalities. Like that's potential, but it's probably better to use neoclassical and behavioral at the same time in all situations. So like with any situation, it is best to apply both neoclassical and behavioral, because type A / B people of high and low intelligence, people that are selfless and selfish, neoclassical and behavioral both apply to those situations. So debates on which tactics would make sense. So have a constant debate on tactics from both neoclassical and behavioral. So like always have a debate on using both tactics. So it doesn't matter if they're type B, type A, low, high intelligence, selfish, selfless. Like have a debate on neoclassical and behavioral. So like it might like both might apply in even the same group. So make sure that you debate using both of those theories. So debate constantly. So go back and forth, figure out which one is best to use in each situation. So have a constant debate in your head, question these theories all over the place, and use things from both theories in the same situation. So have a constant debate on what theory on both theories. So heuristics are energy savers. So the brain has many shortcuts. So like we have like our brain has 10, so we have so many connections in our brain, and to ride a bike, our brain makes a connection to ride a bike, make estimations. So this is something that our brain looks at and processes and determines what the answer is. So put a finger horizontally across the middle of the page, and then answer, are the two boxes really colored differently? So put a finger in the middle of this page and figure out if the two boxes are colored differently. So can somebody try that and tell me what you see? Yeah, I see that too. That's great, Sherry. Christopher, that's great. Thank you for doing that. I see the same color as well. Let's try this. So with heuristics, our brain will interpret this a certain way. So what do you see if you look at this here? Like, what do you see? Like, which ones are popped out? Like, how many are? So I'll ask. So here, how many of the circles are popped out? Five. That's good. Yeah, it's either like I can do it. Like I've convinced. Like it's either like I'm ready to work or something, and if I'm not ready, I can't convince myself to like do the work. So feel free if you have an answer to that question, let me know, because it's the system 1 and 2 are in conflict a lot in terms of like work or going to school, etc. So system 1 and 2, cognitive bias, misperceptions or misunderstandings that cause systematic errors. So confirmation bias, self-serving bias, overconfidence effect, hindsight bias, availability heuristic, planning policy, framing effects. Those types of things can cause systematic errors. And people judge good and bad things in relative terms as gains and losses of status quo. So if you can, if your product provides a gain to the status quo, people may be more likely to buy it. And then people feel loss much more intensely than gains. So loss aversion. So try not to make your product create a loss for someone, because they will be less likely to buy it because of loss aversion. So losses and shrinking packages. Consumers view any increase in the price as a loss relative to the status quo price they're accustomed to. So in that case, so avoid this increase in price. And then framing effects in advertising. So 20% fat or 80% lean. Like what would you think? What would you think is a better product? If it is 20% fat or 80% lean? Same thing, but marketed differently. What sounds better and more likely to buy? And then anchoring credit card bills, small minimum payment amounts. So that's something that people, 80% lean. Yeah, I agree. 80% lean sounds better. Yeah. 80% lean sounds better. That's great, Christopher. And then small minimum payment amounts. That's small minimum payment amounts are better for marketing. Yeah. So then here, mental accounting and overpriced warranties. So extended warranties, people are more likely to purchase the extended, more likely to purchase an extended warranty. That is why stores promote it. So that could, like, a lot of people are interested in purchasing one, so stores promote it. Then the endowment effect of market transactions. People have a higher valuation of anything they currently possess than identical items that they do not own but might purchase. And then status quo bias, tendency that people have to favor any option that's presented to them as being the default / status quo option. So they like purchasing the default options. So like, for example, people like purchasing Pepsi because it's the status quo. They would be less likely to purchase a new type of cola. Yeah. So that's a big part of that. And then here, this is a good option here. So with the status quo, if organ donation participation is the default option, people will join. If non-participation to the organ donation program is the default option, people will not donate their organs. So this is very important because in Austria, Belgium, France, Hungary, Sweden, Portugal, and Poland, organ donation is the default option. So that's why the rate of organ donation is highest. And then these countries, Denmark, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and Germany, organ donation is not the default option. So like organ donation is low. However, this is 2004, so it's probably changed since then. This is just an example to show that organ donation being default option is key to having high organ donation rates. So it shows that if you want something to be done, it must be the default option. So this is so you could use this for your business. Make your product the default option. / status quo. That's you can apply this to your own business for ensuring that people buy your product at a high rate. And then myopia. Our brains have a hard time conceptualizing the future. People are forced to choose between something that will generate benefits quickly and something that won't yield benefits for a long time. Time and consistency. Tendency to systematically misjudge at the present time what you will do at some future time. So you can pre-commitment through hiding of alarm clock, automatic payroll deductions, salary smoothing, early withdrawal penalties, weight loss competitions. The neoclassical models assume that people are self-interested. Fairness exists through giving to charity, obeying the law, fixing prices, and purchasing fair trade rules. Yes, Westy, you got it. So with the default option, they are enrolled automatically. So if they want to not be enrolled anymore, they need to say so. So default / status quo option, they are already pre-enrolled. They need to cancel to not be enrolled. So so people give to charity. People give to charity, obey laws, and purchase fair trade products. So they follow the behavioral economics view through this. So like they are selfless. So neoclassical does not explain this. Yeah, so that's what they're talking about here. So they found here that in the UK in 2010, they found that nudging people towards choices that are better for themselves and others is key to allowing it to happen. So when the UK did the study, they found that nudging people to pay taxes, people did it. And when they nudged people to save, they did it. So like when they nudged adults to attend reading literacy classes, they did it. So this was good for selfless things. However, you could use this for selfish things. Like if the government wanted to nudge people to do things that supported government officials, this would be bad. So nudging is good to promote selfless things for society. However, it is bad when it is used to promote selfish things. So the economic costs, so explicit costs are monetary payments, that's cash costs. Implicit costs are like costs of missing out on opportunities, basically. So in this case, if you're gonna do an accounting spreadsheet here, these are cash costs, so out of pocket. And then these ones, the implicit costs are costs of not making money doing something else, such as costs of not investing in another stock. Let's say, for example, you invest in Tesla and you miss out on the gains of investing in Microsoft. Yeah. So accounting profit is revenue minus explicit costs. So it's basically revenue minus cash costs equals accounting profit. And then here, economic profit is accounting profit minus implicit costs. So accounting profit minus non-cash costs, basically. So in the short run, a plant is a fixed cost. So like there are fixed costs in the short run. However, in the long run, all costs are variable. In the long run, any cost can change because you have more choices. And then, so total product is just total product. Marginal product is change in total product divided by change in labor input. Average product is total product divided by units of labor. Law of diminishing returns. As successive units of a variable factor, say labor, are added to a fixed factor beyond some point, the marginal product that can be attributed to each additional unit of its variable factor will decline. So in that case, so it's basically the increase in total product. So marginal product is the change in total product. And you want to be so total product is maximized here, where marginal product is equal to 0. So total product is 75 here. So this is where you want to be. So you want to produce where marginal product equals 0. This is where total product is maximized. In this case, so average fixed cost is total fixed cost divided by quantity. Average variable cost is total variable cost divided by quantity. Average total cost is total cost divided by quantity. Marginal cost is change in total cost divided by change in total cost. So costs, so the cost will go down when there is improved technology, where cost curve will shift right. Yeah. So economies of scale. So as a plant size increases, a number of factors will for a time lead to a lower average cost of production. So labor specialization, managerial specialization, efficient capital will all increase. So this will all increase efficiency and lower cost per unit through economies of scale, thereby increasing profit. So things that will cause inefficiencies are control and coordination problems, communication problems, worker alienation, and shirking. These will cause inefficiency and increase cost per unit and lead to reduced profit. So you want to produce where there's constant returns to scale. So constant returns to scale will maximize efficiency and reduce costs to the lowest level and maximize profits. So you want to make sure this is where you'll maximize profits right here. So this is where you want to be, maximize profits right here. You want to stay here and not go beyond it. So these are good cases here. So rising gasoline prices lead to increases in firms at short run at variable costs, marginal costs, and average total costs. Successful startup firms experience declining average total costs over the years it takes to eventually reach the levels of MES. And then daily newspaper, very high average fixed costs. In that case. So 3D printers are great because products are affordable due to mass production, economies of scale. Marginal costs are low with mass production. Mass affordability is the result of mass production, mass sales. Yeah, so affordable customization 3D printers provide. Went through that, so we'll go through our next activity. So bring it up here. Okay, we'll do this. I'm just gonna share my screen here. Okay, so I'll try to 1 second. Okay, so we'll do this. I'm just gonna bring this up. So join at this link. And also, when we get started, feel free. Like, if you haven't gotten in yet, you can still come in. Even late is fine. It'll still work. So yeah, don't worry about being late. Okay. I'll just wait a few more seconds for if anyone else wants to come in, but then we'll get started.
you